Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Good morning, everyone. That's a fantastic opportunity to teach the teachers, as you say.
Yeah.
What I believe is, as my teachers told me, design is not taught actually. So design is a feeling. I named this presentation as informal. I'm at my native for a vacation, my parents and things like that. So Dr. Chakravarthy, when he asked us, okay, so I thought, okay, we walk. So it will be informal. And also he wanted me to talk about fonts in automotives, particularly in, and here it is Ashok Leyland. So there are three aspects in the topic itself. So I'm informal. The chartist houses will be informal. We will talk form. So inform. And what AL is doing, Ashok Leyland is doing is wow. So there are three things, three aspects. It's very important in my life. As Dr. Chapter told us, I mean, I'm a painter, started from there without even knowing why am I going to do industrial design. I reached IIT Delhi. Then from there, I catch hold of something called design, particularly the transformation from a watercolor artist to, transportation designer happened at the place. And then as I was excited when it was a very successful. So before reaching design, I was a very mediocre, low performing engineer, but that engineer with a creative talent. So I become one of the, wherever I go, most of my products are very successful. I will show you here in the presentation. So I started teaching. So with the help of Higher Design Academy in Chennai, I reached out to many people, especially place like Chennai. There is no big awareness about industrial design or whatever. So many Satyashilans like me are missed out the bus because the information is not available. And of course, that's what I am. So there are three things. Me, the school where I come from, and my teachers. These are the influential factor in my products, basically. As it is a commercial writing, you might not have been noticed very vigorously as you follow arts, but it is very fun fact. And actually, I want to show some of the farm that I am playing in Ashok Leyland along with my team. But the school where I studied from have a very big influence. And very importantly, these are the three people who is responsible. If I'm good, if I'm bad, I myself is responsible. Like three people. Chakravarthy. This presentation is a very common presentation. It's not just designed for this occasion anyway. So you have Dr. Chakravarthy, Dr. Saumitri Valdarajan, and Professor L.K. Das. So these are the three sculptors of making in Satyasila and whatever you call it. And three different diagonally opposite characters. Saumitri is a critic. He always, pinch you, touch your ego to jump. And L.K. Das goes by books. And Chaku, everyone knows, he's full of energy and encouragement. And very particularly, I was, ate from a very background village, very, economically, educationally, socially, politically, thrown out private village. It's Ariyanur district in Tamil Nadu. So I came to Delhi without even knowing what I'm going to do because I get only disseminated. Then this gentleman picked up a couple of my painting. Then he, pulled me out. Satya, you can do that. This is what I want. So whatever I do, he used to encourage. Actually, so the encouragement and extreme criticism and then literature, these three combination helped me to make these many products. So these are the number of products which I have done, inside and outside the country. Some of them are cars. You have three wheelers. You have LCVs, and you have heavy trucks. Export and stock and things like that. And in automotive, any damn small product, say for example, a three wheeler is a 300 crores investment. Okay. So if you see around 25, 30, many of them I didn't include it because the presentation is a little old. These are all products which I handle that means so much of money, so much of stress, so much of commitments. And from 2007 onwards, I became a design head. So therefore, there are more people to, check why exactly I'm doing in the studio as a design head. We have a divergent space where the young designers fearlessly throw so many, even sometimes it will be very, innocent and idiotic ideas. The converge is the one which I pop in. With my experience, I evaluate those ideas and pick the most promising one. So with the example of a painting, in my studio, I gave a canvas to my, designers to apply any color, any direction, any medium, anywhere. So fearlessly, without any clue, these guys applied colors every direction. And I went in slowly, make it enough, interesting. So this was the painting which is evolved from there, which is creating so much of thought and involvement of the viewer coming in. And this painting I sold for 1 lakh or 1.25 lakh of GST, whatever you want to go 6. So if you come back, it's like a teamwork. I can't hold responsibility for the painting. Everybody in the studio have the contribution. And finally, I have taken this. So I can't even say it's mine. Well, it's mine, basically. Okay. So what do I do to control camp? When it comes to the automotive, what is in and out is the one which decides the purchase decision. And particularly this kind of era where your engine performances, gear shifts, whatever they call it, all the technologies are culminated in a very small packet because the differentiation very, very near, BHPs and different kind of technologies. Anyone comes with the 10 inches touch screen, everyone comes there. But what makes this difference? What is the problem that Indian, of course, 2 months ago, Mahindra eschewed in Australian court for copying cheap. And of course, so they call it down. But anybody who is following automotive can easily say exactly 90% resemblance of a G. Now, why an Indian SUV look like an American G? So as its roots from post-war Jeep has been bought, all the aggregates are bought from the Jeep. And it's going to be 20, 30 years here now. And then why it is reflecting. But the ultimate aim of Indian designers to match it with somebody from America. And of course, does Nissan do this? Or try to do it? They can do much better than that, what we have delivered as a car. But still they are not doing. Why? Because we are not reflecting Indian ethos in our products. Say, for example, Hyundai or Japanese cars, anybody who sold cars elsewhere in the world, but they still want to reflect the Japanese ethos. Probably I may have to go for another presentation to how Japanese evolved with Zen philosophies like Aiki, Wabi Sabi, these kind of aesthetic principles has been reflected in their products. But when it comes to India, we always try to follow somebody. I used to ask why. So right from the very beginning of my journey in transportation, I decided to reflect Indian ethos in products in many ways. So whenever people look for inspiration board, I give my paintings. From there, we saw the dashboard because it has so much of aggregates. You have 10 tails, you have switches, you have, that oil where to fill your brake and power steering, you have a transmission line, and over it, you have engine, you have access, batteries. All these things are, arranged in a very engineering, very tight, way. But when you want to arrange it, which is pleasant, which is not confusing the driver, which is, also giving a kind of a worship, then you go back to the nature and try to relate. So, for example, this is another coach where the driver workspace is utter confusion. Then the inspiration is to the progress, how nature, you know, spreads his travels across. It's like that. The results were awesome. The people are very happy. Probably I am not show this painting to the customer, but the customer understands. Why Indian ethos? Because particularly when it comes to commercial vehicle, the use and the user and product, all the three are having interconnection between it. For example, most of the drivers, they don't have forum, they don't have an association. They are cooking budgie on top of an IC engine. And without any hesitation, look at that guy is very happy. The truck in the front list is designed for particular tonnage. But people, they don't want to leave any space. If I give 1 tonner, they will go up to 4 or 5 tons. And in the bus, you have electronic board, but people stamp it in urban areas. Whereas in villages, people communicate, people interact with each other inside the bus, though they are living next to it. But this is the place where they gather together as then pass on some individuals and things like that. But if you go to any automotive forum, Dr. Chakravarthy was doing it, people are talking about plutonic, autonomous vehicles, electric trucks and things like that. But the situation is not changing. If you bring the Volvo Scania into the people where in Chennai, we never wore a sweater in 365 days because drinking water is very different in India, even today. But this product, Indian customer don't understand. Whether you are going to teach them how to drink water here or make products which have them cultural or habitual values in their life. This is the question topic when I became a transportation designer. I decided that I want to give products for the people. For example, walking with a polar bear in Mahasalibra is highly imaginative. It's not possible at all because this animal lives only minus 30 degree, onwards and not even surviving it. But why we are aspiring it? Why we are hesitating it? Because product and design is a way of democracy, right? You have to democratize because if you say 100 years ago, the ornamented products, the designed gadgets were used by the right people, sword, maybe the golden diamond stuff, and chariots, and this kind of stuff. And today, design is democratized. Look at your cell phone. It's a best example. Now, Ashok is a place where I was given an opportunity to experiment very positively. We have heavy trucks, medium range LCVs, and buses. And we have international operations also. A couple of products, what you see in a coach and all, it's not in India, it's seen sold everywhere. So now, when you see over a period of 75 years in this company, every program manager designed their own vehicle. More vehicle have, something in common. They don't carry the same DNA. So it is a 10-year struggle for me to keep them to understand what is design is, why you should, have a similarity or a brand identity or a design common DNA across the products, because that goes to the subconscious mind of the customer. And a rigid company like Ashok Leyland, which was running without a design studio till 2007, when I joined, there was no design studio. I was the person who was joined and then developed it. But the important thing is, if you have 36 different dimensionally varying products in truck alone, the differences are 40 millimeter. So, for example, G45 is one, and IT12 is another one. These two vehicles have 40 millimeters different. What's the reason? No one knows. And they were running it very happily. And also, this is the truck that you see. It's built by local bodybuilder. Right? How many of you know FPS? FPS is front end structure. We give the engine, chassis, and the steering wheel. They go to the local bodybuilder, and then they will, have a cabin of highly unorganized materials and unsafe. And thirdly, it's not regulated. ARA is a governing authority to issue the certify the vehicle on the road. But these days are totally unregulated. So this truck can kill the driver even in a 40 mile speed for a body pop. Why are they opting for? Because the entire cabin is 51.5 tons. But we cannot leave it like that. This is a reflection of our Indian ethos. You see the decorative multicolors, and they themselves been their designers. All these things are coming from what is wrong in it. They want to participate in the truck making of truck design. One can ask, are they eligible designers? I don't know, but they want to. That is what the country is like. So, so it is decorative. It's very busy. So the busyness and then balance between. At the same time, our artifacts always have the symphony, the tals, the lamb, and the raga. All these things converge into one particular art form, and you have Navarasas. You have ethos can be developed like the Maoist movement, like the Cubism movement. Is there any movement from Ajanta or Mahabalipuram? That kind of movement is not there. I think that is the one which is the need, because if anyone wants to do an Indian ethos, what is the basic or what is that? Right? I don't know how many of you like RDTT, that's a sports car, which is done out of the Maoist movement. You have a font. How about a font which is reflecting Bharatanatyam? Or, apparels, I know, which is all very traditional. How you make it more modern? And how it is going to reflect as brand called Ashok Leyland, which is an out and out Indian company. Even if it is sold, it's being sold in London, it is perceived as an Indian company. And it was expected to actually reflect Indian ethos rather than you go and then teach them how European design is. Why you have to, follow Jeep or Land Rover or, something like that. I don't know, in this particular point, I just want to tell you, see, you might have seen this Volvo, right? Volvo had a XC90 SUV and parts. They have a hammer like LED. What is that hammer for? Because the Scandinavian countries, particularly Sweden, is famous for their silverware. That is the hammer which will beat the metal as a the kettle and things like that. So they have reflected the cultural ethos, the Scandinavian silverware has been pictured in the shape or form of something like that. And we have a tagline called Abhijit Amaruchi, because the truck and buses have a different business model than your car business. Because if you're selling a car, you are selling to the particular customer. But if you're selling a bus to a fleet owner, he's not going to travel. But the customer is a common man. So that's the reason why you have Abhijit Amaruchi. What is victory? What is spirit of victory? Vertically and horizontally, regardless of men and women or any day, the moment when you get victor, that's how you stretch your hands, right? Even it is a cricket or it's a heavyweight or a spirit. So this is what is depicting Abhijit Amariti. What is to reflect our ethos? What is Indian ethos? This is how we spread our hands. And this is welcoming, this is caring, and this could be particularly an Indian way of expressing their happiness with Victor. And we keep yellow as a gate that asks or this, RPG, Amar needs. And when it comes for buses, we depict it in a different way. So we define our DNA. I went into the multiple presentations across the board and many people, and then we got an approval. They wanted to have a little more softer for buses and stronger for trucks. And well, the LCV, furthermore, it's that in between, right? So this is the recent Banados. You can see the highlight will depicting the RPG Amaruti. When it comes for trucks, you can see this RPG Amaruti things like that. And when I always feel that invention is better than imitation. And I'm damn sure none of you might have, casually watched what's happening in the world. It's an European model. What does that mean? You can follow my cursor. The whole bonnet in the front in any truck is a openable bonnet. It opens like this. And it has to have an inner panel and a hydraulic hinge. All these things not to access engine for your information because it's a tilt cab. If you watch a truck being serviced, they tilt the cab. So the engine is in the middle. Then why are you having that heavy, huge part
Come to it.
just to fill oils like that or it's called that? What is that? Is no big rocket science. You have brake oil, you have a power steering oil, and you have engine oil. These oils that will be filled occasionally by the cleaners. But then you have the whole thing open and three parts coming in, and the whole total cost is around 5,000 to 6,000. What I did is I have welded the whole thing in the frames. And then even the black part, what you see, which is here in Ashok Leyland there, which can be opened like this to fill because the tap is here. What you do is you save time in assembly. Number two, all these things are welded, so therefore the fit and finish and the noise, unfit noise, the whistling noise has been reduced. The hydraulic hinges both the sides. It's a huge investment that has been removed totally. The inner panel is removed. Instead, I have increased the thickness of the sheet metal. So it looks premium, but at the same time,
Safety also is there.
huge cost saving.
Yeah.
And I have taken all the trucks in one, dimension in the front, what it calls. The breadth is the same. So therefore, I can have the common bumper. I give two lamps because Indian likes more lights. But unless otherwise, in previous years, you have a headlamp here that will kill somebody who is coming in front of. And if you're driving in front of a truck in a small road, the light beam straight away comes on your head. He brings it down. People enjoy it because we have given two. So the fan, what you're trying or experimenting should have a biggest advantage to the customer. And they are not complaining about not the lamp to be become 1,200 plus height. Now it is very submissive, very light. Actually, the light is thrown on the board instead of the opponent of head. And all across we'll have the same gap. This paradox is one example which has come very neatly. Unfortunately, this whatever I'm saying is not reached many of the automobile professionals because I'm in Chennai and Ashok Leyland is a truck company. But I'm telling you, every line is a meaning here. I could say some of the cars which is done by big OEMs in India, they don't even follow it. But here, if you can see, the handling is being well placed within the car. This is not just flat. If you extend all these lines, they have a circle point. We can see if you extend it, it will come on that here. We have iterated many times to bring a cohesive focal point within this vehicle, which is a hardcore engineering product. So typically, RPG, Hamariji, the arms again repeated like that, artistic, which is extended from those, and all of them have a cohesive understanding. For example, if you are having a mango tree, the bark, the trunk, the leaf, the branches, the fruit, and even the flower of mango tree will smell the same, but still it have a differentiation. Now, it will be so awkward if you have jackfruit in a mango tree. Definitely not. So if you are making a product, progressively, it will reflect the same DNA in each and every part. Say, for example, that is being taken care in the stitch phase itself. So therefore, it has to go as Dr. Chakravarthy said, once you release for cooling, nothing going because merely the headlamp tuning is itself is 5 crore rupees investment. So we do clay model to verify the design reports, and then all the lines are being speaking together by running a tape across, and then all these procedures to act for this design. The second verification cap happens in the cache, control-related surfacing. So there will be a lot of challenges in terms of manufacturing materials and the way you manufacture. You have sheet metal press and so many different types of stuff. So making a sketch and taking till the end of the production is the biggest challenge. As you were saying, the elements of Aapkijit, Amarijit is being connected, well connected with each and every packets, regardless of what material, who supplier it is. The result is I have some. When you see next time, Banados, please, 100 out of 100%, we don't consider any Europeans, any Americans. It's totally done by Indian designers. Not even one Japanese or Korean or East or West, nobody. It's only me and my team. And look at the dashboard. I can very well say this is much better than some of the cars. And the form which follows function, that is a mantra of Dr. Chakravarthy. Every time, even in the strip, he used to, kickers say that form should follow the function. Now, what does it mean? The gear shift is in the center. These LCV drivers often wait maybe 1 or 2 days, sometimes more, in the places to wait or load there, something. Say, for example, Ennur Port. Ennur Port, the ship is to come in to load the vehicle. These guys might have come from Honda, far away, something. The time will not match. So therefore, till they call you inside the harbor, the driver have to wait. But he has a 5-meter product. He can't sleep. Why? Because we have a gear shift coming here.
Easier.
Now, when you move it to the dashboard, the whole thing like a bed, one can sleep.
Easier.
At the same time, this is little more comfortable for him to operate the gear shift. But when I visualize this, the engineers will not happily say no, because the routing, transmission, everything under this has been transferred to this mechanically. So we don't even get the high driveway wire. It's 30 years down the line, we can't get it. So it's a mechanical transmission. So they don't want an easy life. They will not say yes immediately. Then you have to become a storyteller, go talk to them, convince somebody, ask somebody, run a trial with the customer. Do so many rather than whatever you want them to make it. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
Because the engineers don't visualize, they don't see the end of product. But I always look at the end customer, but they are trying to make it happen. That is what their challenge is in the initial stages. Like you guys are from NIPS, there's a lot of opportunities when it comes for interior color, texture, and fabrics. It's a fabric stitch. Even there, you have to follow the stitch patterns. The car seat is a very funny product. You can't stitch anywhere. The fabric is very thick, at least 3 mm thick. So when you are stitching too, you have to fold it, so the thickness will go up. And after there is a foam. So you have to imagine all that. So when you are sketching, you have to temper, you have to apply pressure for the fabric to stay. So therefore, when you are visualizing, when you remove this fabric, the foam will be in a different shape. You understand what I'm saying? The foam is very flexible. So when you remove it, it will behave as if it's like a pillow, right? So it's a lot of challenges. And also, many of our people, these are the things which I learned from working in General Motors and other, global companies. So I superimpose my knowledge where I learned from outside. And actually, I don't know how many other OEMs follow this. I want them to visualize, which is shrunken design. That's called, right? So at the same time, we should not give up the design ethos to be reflected. And the FES is given the high-end product like this. No more normal or J-core low-cost bodybuilding, because people enjoy it. It is very safe, and it is welded. All have the same bumper. If we can see same bumper, enormous amount of money has been wasted for different bumpers before has been saved by design, by particular form. The particular way of visualization, this design DNA, it's not only giving a advantageous visual apprehension. At the same time, it saves a lot of money. So all the 5 variants will have the same bumper. Of course, some of the conservative suppliers has been thrown out, but somehow we have to do that. At the same time, what design head do? Even today, I sketch. Design is not a profession. Design is what I feel is it's a way of life. So the way I sketch, people will also follow it. And also, what you see here is a meticulously modular product. So we have one single chassis which will cater, but for this, I used to struggle 10 years in the organization. Majority is to make them to understand. It's not because we can't do it. It's about to making people to understand. Why? Because we don't have a design propaganda. We have a design movement. I think together, whether you're coming from a transport, I think design is generic. I don't call myself as a transportation designer. So design is anything. So in Ashok Leyland, I had done an auditorium of 300 people. I never been in a constructional design or whatever. So suddenly I went inside. In no time, it's like the same. So I think we have to wait for a design revolution or a design movement which will reflect our Indian ethos. So particularly the sunshine is a breakthrough. This is a area products. So by proving these kind of products, I went to the super management to actually accept whatever I am visualizing. So here also we have taken Buddha as a word, smiling Buddha into it. I think this is the world's first colorful interior. What you see here is a colorful interior. Of course, it's very cost effective again. Citizen lift guys, what the fabric is. So this vinyl, whatever you cut from here, has been used here. No waste. I think you are able to understand, right? See the black and yellow.
Yeah.
So 30% of the material waste has been handled by coming with a very colorful. When we opened it in Delhi, the young school children were so happy to actually look into the bus, and then they were fighting for their favorite colors to go on stage. This is a sketch, and this is the product that we have brought in Delhi. And also, as I was telling you, the avatar car front grill has been tested and validated in this product 5 years ago. This is the place where you have to fill out that fuels, drivers cabins under that. So all these things are welded together. This is collapsible. You can open and then fill that again. So the form really helps, and advances of the function has been achieved by it. So this asymmetric product catches attention anytime, anywhere.
Easier.
It's very successful product. At the same time, it's very, very cost effective. Especially, you can see the circular lamps. As I was telling you, headlamp tooling is 5 crores. And if you can see all of my product, I use only circular lamps because it's readily available. It's just 400 rupees. An actuator, another 190 rupees. So mostly it's 700 rupees, you'll get it. Otherwise, you waste 5 crores. But at the same time, there is no compromise in aesthetics. I don't think so. Right? So if you see this product, it's just a circular. Off the shelf, we call it what is off the shelf. It's readily available. You don't develop anything new. After seeing this, now Bharat started, doing it. So we are always following. Now they understand. So this comes from an Indian mind, actually. So I used to question why the whole grill has to get open. It's like a taboo. You have to break those taboos, right? So this is where I am. And with the help of the great tea, what I learned from the school where I come from, and then look at the product. And today, this is my product portfolio. First time in the Indian commercial vehicles history, we have a product range which reflects, number one, Indian ethos, the sound, which is becoming advantage to some of the function to the drivers. And number 3, it has a design DNA, which is common. Even from a far away 1 kilometer's distance, one can say that's Ashok Leyland coming. So that's where I am going. I mean, whatever I had today, if you feel it is good, it's because of my teachers. Still, I'm in touch with my teachers, and Yesterday, when Dr. Chakravarthy asked me, I didn't even say that I am relative and little handicapped. In fact, in my home, I have an office with a lot of lights and things like that. So I miss everything. I'm sitting in one of my nephew's laptop. I don't bring laptop. I don't check mails. I don't pay things like that. So it's arranged. So I could see Chakku and Saumatri, they make presentations in any condition, anywhere, quickly available, turn around them, action results. That's why I learned from them. And thank you. If there is any question, please ask me.
Yeah.
In fact, we should be glad that, Professor Chakravarthy had actually brought you in here in spite of your all busy schedule. And you are being here to share your ideas. That's very, very essential for our faculty fraternity, because the whole concept of Indianness that you told about is very interesting. And where you have started your concept, the logo, the most simplest form of the tree ideology, which had really transformed into a three-dimensional form. Very intriguing, very well enumerated. So thank you so much for your sharing of your knowledge. And
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Please, yeah.
Again, Satya, thank you so much. It was wonderful to see your presentation in one go. In fact, I saw the Chota Dost and I was so happy to see that product because it was so different from all the other products I've seen. I'm so glad I didn't know to see the story behind the Chota Dost. Very nice. Very, very good. And I love Ashok Leyland a lot because remember my first PhD collaborative innovation, before you joined, I think I was at Ashok Leyland training 90 engineers in your plant. And it was such a wonderful experience, being in Ashok Leyland also, but very good organization, but a very tough journey, to do what you've done. Extremely, extremely proud of you, Satya. Thank you so much for coming up. And let us take some questions from our colleagues there. So please, colleagues, feel free to ask. And Satya, it is so wonderful to see you bringing that, like that whole, body, the posture of, winning into the product, that is like so exciting to see. Thank you so much. It's wonderful. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, this is Senthilnathan from NIFT Chennai. So I was quite happy to observe all the design exploration because I was continuously observing this Leyland's new designs. For the past few years, I was quite astonishing. So a lot of new innovation is coming up from the small vehicle to the big trucks. And in fact, one of my friend is also working with the R&D department over there. So I was keeping a very keen observation on all the designs. Very happy to know you, to have you here. And thank you for Chakravarthy sir to bring you here. Sir, is there a good opportunity for the NIFT students to collaborate with you in terms of internships and the graduation products? Because you can see a lot of scope.
I'm actually looking for people in Chennai because off the record, many people stay only 2 years with me after learning that many of them now are in GM, US, someone is in Volkswagen. So I became a training center. After 2 years, these guys go because very few Tamil was going to design nowadays, I think. So in that case, if any good resource available within Chennai, I'll be more than happy. Yes, Cynthia.
Definitely, sir. We will be in touch with you, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
In fact, maybe Satya, we'd like to ask you, regarding the challenges, because, you brought in a lot of functional advantage to the design of the form, in the front of the vehicle. And as you told, the costing is very high. So when without the functional advantages, it's very difficult, of course, to, get things going. But because of you, the company would have saved crores of rupees now on the tooling and everything, right? So have they identified that? Have they recognized that?
Of course. They definitely. I mean, another peculiar thing, what I see, I worked for Mahindra, I worked in Tata Motors.
Yeah.
I was in General Motors, I was in TVS also. What I see is here, the creative freedom is enormous. Like, I'm the deciding authority. MD says, I don't know about styling. Satya, you decide. So, for example, you don't see any presentation renderings like Tata Motors. We don't do it because very please going to send me. I'm the final authority. So that is what the creative freedom of Joy has.
Oh yeah, it's very nice. But I had similar freedom in L&T, and when you have such type of freedom where the onus is on the expert, then things can really go fabulously well.
They don't interfere unless otherwise. They will give their recommendations for sure. But if they convince the way what I tell them, they are going. And for example, and payment is also they're good. So I'm happy. If I see my people from Tata Motors, I'm at least 3-4 banks. So always I'm happy. Only thing is, whether you like it or not, that's a fact that Chennai is little conservative when you compare with Bangalore or something like that. They don't want to change. They don't want to change the routine of how they work. That is the toughest part. The middle management to actually go and see my thoughts. It's happening slowly. It's happening.
Yeah. It's a very long journey, and then I think you are 10-year proof of how well you've conceived all this is fabulous. So, any other questions from any of our colleagues?
Sir, I would like to ask, very well, you said that, Indian ethos must be there in the design, but I mean, just not a question, observation, just want your thought, what's on this point, that अगर हम ये सारे vehicles देखें, truck, bus, and everything is, every one of them is having that conventional form of that cuboidal form, कुछ उस पर कभी exploration या वैसा आप लोगों ने करने का सोचा है क्या सर? Just
That's a very, very, very rational question. Yes, but I mean, basically, the industrial design is a Western concept. Basically, okay, it comes from there. There's a need for a paradigm shift in the way you look at it. But at the same time, when you think about space, there is no other effective utilization than a cubic way of thought. You look at your buildings, right? So if you make more curvature, driver will be thrown off. So keeping the driver in the center has been tried many times. So the space is very important when it comes to, say, when it comes to the fleet owner. That's a very good question that you're asking. So they also have a criteria in the chassis, the same chassis. They ask more occupants. So and so, the legroom has been compromised, especially the government buses. It's compromised for the legroom. I don't know how many of you traveled in municipality buses. If you are the 5 foot plus, definitely your knee is going to pitch with the front seat. So we compromise ergonomics for the number of seats. So when it comes for the more accommodative form, possibly basically as of my knowledge, it's cuboid only.
Very true. So again, Satya, it is really, really fabulous. Have a great time at your house. And thank you for this wonderful presentation. In fact, I enjoyed and got inspiration so much from your work also, Satya. Now,
very honestly, I am very happy because this is the presentation. Whenever I spell your name, I used to have little feeling. None of these 3 guys ever seen my presentation where their names is spelled out. I mean, thanks for sitting.
Yeah. I've not seen emails, but so nice of you, Satya. Not at all.
It's very 100% honestly. If you were not encouraging in the first semester, I could have written back. Many of you do not know, when I started the 99, my design career, already I have spent 9 years teaching in an engineering college.
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah.
So I was a head of the department. There were people working with it. So the hostel life students were 10 years less than me. And it is very tough for me to actually. So if the gentleman who says, okay, you can do that. And just 2 years and pass by, don't leave, don't give up, that kind of. So if I could have continued, it's only because of you, without any exaggeration. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Satya. Thank you so much.